Alright, if you will pay attention here, I'm going to go over and very quickly how you name these acids that were on the quiz. Alright? The first 4 acids are all named in exactly the same way. Huh? They just have different endings, and you have to figure out how to name those when you do. Okay? So what you do is, the rule I gave you from the beginning of when we started naming everything was this. If you have more than 2 elements, and this has 1, 2, 3 elements, then you're going to look for a polyatomic ion. So you search for your polyatomic ion list, called the common ions or polyatomic ions, and you look for anything on there that looks like some part of this formula, and you find IO here, kind of in the middle of things. That's hypoiodite. Not mine, I don't think so. Okay. So the first thing you do then is you name this compound as if it's an ionic compound. So you just call this hydrogen. Hypoiodite. Okay? When we have an acid that has oxygen in the formula, so this is called an Oxy Acid. Okay. Kind of jumping around on me here a bit. I'm trying to get it focused. There we go. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to drop the word hydrogen from the front, and the ITE gets changed to OUS. So this acid then becomes hypoiodous acid. Okay? The second acid I gave you was HiO2. Okay, well that's simply iodite. IO2 is iodite. So we're going to name it hydrogen iodite. And then we're going to change it using that same system. When we have an oxy acid, that's an acid that has a polyatomic ion that contains oxygen. Oxy acids, you drop the hydrogen entirely, you change ite to OUS, and you get iodous acid. OUS acid. Okay? HiO3. This polyatomic ion here is called iodate. So you name this hydrogen iodate. You drop the word hydrogen from the front. H's don't get changed to us. They get changed to IC. So this becomes iodic acid. Then HiO4 is hydrogen. When you're naming it like an ionic compound, hydrogen. This polyatomic ion is called periodate. So we're going to drop hydrogen from the front. 8 becomes ic, periodic acid. Kind of looks like periodic acid, but I guess you'd call it periodic acid. Okay? Then HI is not an acid with an oxygen in there. So this is not an oxy acid. There's a different naming system for these kinds of acids that are called binary. They have only 2 elements in the formula. In a binary acid, you start the same way. You start naming it as if it is an ionic compound, and so you name it hydrogen iodide. Okay? The anions, the negatively charged part here, always is called, if it's a monoatomic anion, it always has an IDE ending. If it's the back part of the formula name, for most of the ionic and covalent compounds we name in here, except for the organic compounds, you always have IDE on the end anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to change hydrogen to just hydro. We're only going to drop the gen here. Ide becomes ic. And so this then becomes hydroiodic acid. And the last compound I asked you to name is not an acid at all, and that was CaOH2. And this you just name like an ionic compound because that's what it is. It contains a polyatomic ion, the one we've been using in this unit for bases, the strong bases. This is a hydroxide ion. If you've been paying attention and focusing in class, you probably wouldn't even have to look that up. You know that's hydroxide. And this is, you can look this up if you need to, that's calcium hydroxide. And you don't have to do anything else with this one because it's not an acid. You got a question? You have a question?
The periodic state or whatever, periodic, is that because there's 4 oxygens?
Yes.
That you get the word?
Yes. Well, it's periotic. It comes from the polyatomic ion on your list. Okay. IO3 1 negative is iodate. When you add an extra oxygen onto iodate, you get periodate. So it's not really called periodic acid, it's called periodic acid. Okay? I know it looks like periodic acid, but that's not really what it is. Okay? Alright. Now question number 2 says, what 2 measurements are put together to make the concentration unit we call molar or molarity? We've been working on that for quite some time. How about that? Wow. Imagine that. If you looked carefully, you'd find it. There it is. You could answer the entire, all of number 2 and 3 right there. Good for you. I'm proud. I really am. I'm proud of you. That's great. Okay? But I've been teaching it to you in class. You shouldn't have to, you know, it's been what we've been using all this unit. Okay? So, the concentration unit molarity is moles of the solute, that's the thing being dissolved, over liters of the solution, and that's the solute and the solvent all together. The solvent and solvent and solution, solvent and solute together make up the solution. Okay?